Jai Hind, friends. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya. Putin will continue for some time and there will be change later on. There is always change. I mean, Lenin did not last forever. Stalin did not last forever. Right? You should have had the guts and the courage to tell BCCI that you are not coming to Pakistan, we will not enter India. Not now, not after 10 years. Jai Hind, friends. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now, the Wagner revolt in Russia has impacted Russia's so-called no limits partnership with China. Now, apparently what has happened is that, actually political instability leads to economic turmoil, and a classic case study is Pakistan, right? Pakistan has been perpetually, for the past 75 years, in an economic turmoil because it has always been in a political turmoil. Right? And even the highs that it has seen in economics is not a result of political stability, but infusion of dollars from America and other countries. Now, what has happened in Russia is slightly different. Russia has vast oil reserves, Russia has minerals, Russia has an A-grade military, and as far as the military is concerned, it is still a global superpower. It may not be an economic superpower, but Russia is certainly a military superpower. Now, what has happened in Russia is that after the Wagner revolt, Chinese companies have stopped their export shipments to Russia. Now, this is very interesting, and I'm going to read out the comment of a Chinese businessman. And this Chinese businessman here says, and I quote, "We thought there was going to be a big problem." Shen Muhui is the name of this gentleman, and head of a trade body for the firms in China's southern Fujian province, said, recalling the scramble amongst his members for exporting auto parts, machinery and garments to Russia. So, auto parts, machinery, could be manufacturing machinery, farm machinery, and other things, textiles to Russia, and they have suddenly stopped it because they don't know what is going to happen to Russia tomorrow. Now, here is my thinking. Nothing is going to happen to Russia. Putin will continue for some time, and there will be change later on. There is always change. I mean, Lenin did not last forever. Stalin did not last forever. There is a time when every human being has to go, whether in India, Russia, all over the world, This is how things work. Putin will also one day go, he'll retire or whatever. Now, the thing is that the Chinese are very, very scared. Now, this whole thing about no limits partnership, and this is my theme for today's talk as far as this topic is concerned, is when China says about Pakistan, when it says higher than the Himalayas, sweeter than honey, deeper than the deepest oceans, China is lying. Today, when Pakistan needs money and the Pakistani Prime Minister, hat in hand, is going abroad begging for just $1 billion from the IMF, China could have written a check and bailed out Pakistan. It's very easy for China, and the kind of money that Pakistan needs, it's pittance. It is pocket change for China. The Chinese have so much money that Chinese can just write a small check and bail out Pakistan, but the Chinese have not done it. Because the Chinese also understand that a stable Pakistan is not in China's interest. A Pakistan that is perpetually unstable and a Pakistan that is perpetually dependent upon China is what China seeks. Nobody wants a stable Pakistan. Even the Pakistanis don't want a stable Pakistan, because a stable Pakistan will mean that no money coming from outside. Perhaps only the common Pakistani wants a stable Pakistan. The rich Pakistanis, the so-called Ashrafia of Pakistan, the cream of Pakistan, even they don't want a stable Pakistan. Instability in Pakistan means money, right? China could have helped Pakistan. China did not. Which is why this analogy. Now, coming back to Russia, what has happened is that China can help Russia because they said no limits. What China said is a no limits partnership. So why is there a limit right now? Why is there a limit right now? China says that the kind of relationship that we have with Russia, we don't have with anybody else. And this is the kind of relationship that, we'll live for each other, die for each other, all possible poetry. No limits. There are absolutely no limits. And when the heads of state of two countries like China and the US, Russia, I was going to say USSR because that was at the back of my mind, China and the Russian Federation, when they actually say this is a no limits partnership, then it means it's a no limits partnership. But a failed coup in which the Wagner group did not even reach within 100 kilometers of Moscow. 200 kilometers before Moscow, they took a U-turn. And now this guy, the head of the Wagner Group, is in Belarus. Even that has scared Chinese so much that the Chinese have stopped all exports to Russia. They just said, no exports. That's it. We are not going to export anything. This is typical, Chinese thinking. What they call a no limits partnership. I would ask the Russians to be extremely beware of Chinese tricks, because China promises friendship, and when push comes to shove, the Chinese are the first ones to take a step back. The Chinese will do everything. They will never put their own money in danger. Now, Pakistan's participation in IIC World Cup still not confirmed. This is Geo News. Geo News says that, the country is still saying that it requires the government's approval to send the squad to neighboring India, etc., etc. And October 15th this year in Ahmedabad, Pakistan is supposed to play India. And now the Pakistani Cricket Board is confused. They're saying we're waiting for the government's permission or the government's view on this. Why are you waiting? What have you said? I want to ask the PCB. And my question is to the PCB. What have you recommended to the government? Because if your recommendation is that we don't want to go to India, then that's easy, because you're not seeking permission. Then you're saying we'll not go. End of story. But you want to go. The problem is that in spite of India publicly snubbing you, and saying that we will not go to the Asia Cup. If you want us to play, we'll play outside. Right? You should have had the guts and the courage to tell BCCI that you are not coming to Pakistan, we will not enter India. Not now, not after 10 years. This so-called cricketing relationship with India is over. It's dead. You should have had the guts to say it. Now you're saying, we want to consult with our government. What consultation? Don't you have any sense of pride? Don't you have any honor? Don't you have any so-called, what you say in Pakistan, ghairat? No ghairat now? Is the lure of Indian money so strong for you that you've forgotten all your principles you never had? But you've forgotten everything. You've forgotten honor and self-respect. What are you talking about? There is still a debate in Pakistan. Should we go to India? There is no debate in India. There is absolutely no debate in India. We will not go to Pakistan, end of story. Come hell or high water, we are not going to Pakistan. That's it. Our cricket team will not travel to Pakistan. Has anybody, ever since BCI made the statement, has anybody in India objected? Has anybody in India said, no, we must go to Pakistan, we love Pakistan, we must have relationship with Pakistan? Nobody said it, because we are very clear. Nothing against common Pakistanis. Nothing against the population of Pakistan. But your entire government structure, including your army, including your establishment, your judiciary, your government, everybody is rotten, absolutely. And we don't want to engage with you. India said no. You should also say no. And I would request my Pakistani friends, my Pakistani colleagues, when I say colleagues, I mean people from the media, though I don't know you personally, but I will still call you my colleagues because I'm from the media. I would request you to put pressure on your government to say no. You remember Imran Khan's immortal words, absolutely not. You should say absolutely not to BCCI and to India and to ICC. Just say absolutely not. We will not travel to India because India did not travel to Pakistan. I would expect you to have that sort of courage, that sort of self-respect, that sort of sense of patriotism that we are not going to go to India. This is my expectation from the Pakistanis. Rest, I leave it up to you. If you want to swallow your self-respect for a few dollars, you'll be living up to your national principles. I have nothing to say. Okay. Now there is another unacceptable. White House denounces harassment of journalists who questioned Modi on human rights. So there is this Sabrina Siddiqui. She is from the Wall Street Journal, and she is originally, her parents are from Pakistan. I think 1/4 of her is Indian, but 3/4, I don't know what. All right. But she was born in the US, born in the USA, as Springsteen had sung, and she's from the Wall Street, and she asked Prime Minister Modi, what steps are you and your government willing to take to improve the rights of Muslims and other minorities in your country? I would like to ask Sabrina Siddiqui, when you say other minorities, Sabrina Siddiqui, are you even aware which other minorities are there in India? Right? That you have been trolled, I think you need to take it, because all of us get trolled. I get trolled every time. I get trolled by Pakistanis every single day. Right? and it's okay. And you live with it, be mature, be an adult. Don't go weeping, don't go crying every time. Oh, I've been trolled. So what if you've been trolled? Yes, if somebody has trolled you because of your religion, I condemn it. It should not be done. Nobody should troll you because you're a Muslim. But if people have trolled you because you're Pakistani or of Pakistani origin, then I totally support the trolling because I will do the same. If you're born in Pakistan, you have a big target on your back in terms of trolling, online trolling, okay? I mean, it's there. It's going to happen. It happens to your country of origin's prime minister, it happens to the presidents, it happens to everybody in Pakistan. The fact that one of your parents or their parents carried a green passport, that is enough. You will get it just because of that. Unless you publicly denounce your Pakistani ancestry, that is going to happen. Coming back to the point, you asked the Prime Minister of India questions on minorities, and you said Muslims and other minorities. So, Jains are a minority. Please let us know what problem the Jains have. Let's go one by one. Sabrina Siddiqui. The Parsis are a minority. Please ask the Parsis what problems do they have. The Christians are a minority. Please ask the Christians what problems do they have. Ask the Sikhs. Ask my Sikh brothers and sisters what problems do they have. And then ask the Muslims what problems do they have. Ask them. Let us know what you find out. What you have done is crafted a narrative. And the Wall Street Journal is helping you further that narrative. When cooking gas is given, everybody gets cooking gas. The cooking gas pipeline does not go around a Muslim house or circumvent a Muslim house. When loans are given, the bank does not circumvent the Muslim house. Right? When government grants are given or government subsidies are given, everybody gets it. When government makes houses for people, when it makes toilets for people, Muslims also get a house and a toilet. The Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Parsis don't need any help and Jains don't need any help. And I mean, I haven't even seen many of them, but there could be poor Sikhs also. I haven't seen a poor Parsi though in my life. But so it depends from people to people and their status. But I don't know this whole halla or this whole noise about Muslims in India. Muslims in India are just fine. They're just fine. And I don't know why Pakistani newspapers are saying, oh, this person asked a question to Prime Minister Modi in a White House presser, and she asked, and the Pakistani media is celebrating. I just want to tell one thing to the Pakistani media. When Prime Minister Modi was being, given the best possible protocol and respect, when India was being celebrated in the White House, your Prime Minister was in France begging for money. So don't compare yourselves with us. We are different, you're different, and God bless you. And I'd just like to say this to Sabrina Siddiqui that if you've been trolled because of your faith, that is wrong. About your Pakistani heritage, I have nothing to say. Right? Did you have every right to ask Prime Minister Modi that question? Of course. Of course. But be prepared as an adult that you will be trolled. I am trolled every day. Every second day, some crazy Pakistani says, I'm going to cut off your head. I don't make a song and dance about it. There are no articles written about me. Why should there be articles written about you? So many of us get trolled. Nobody cares. Because you're an American citizen. Because you played a left card there. I disagreed with the question, but I will defend your right to ask the Prime Minister any question, the Prime Minister of India. If you feel as a journalist you must ask this question, please go ahead and ask. But if people want to respond in the way they think best, they will respond. Don't cry about it. It's not that only journalists have rights. Even normal people have rights. If they troll you, troll them back, yeah? Or switch off notifications from Twitter. Why cry about it? Why weeping all the time? Why always playing the victim card? So what? It's happened, it's happened. Again, I'm saying, if somebody has trolled you because of your faith, because of your Muslim faith, I condemn that, I stand with you. But trolling happens, it happens to me. It will happen. I think you're facing it for the first time, which is why you're getting so upset. Don't be upset. This is very normal. If you choose to be on Twitter, you will get trolled. So relax, take it easy. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I come to the end of today's video. Now for Ask Major. Life is good. Namaste, sir. Namaste, life is good, ji. I don't know your name, but I'll be happy if you write your name. How come Pakistani army can overthrow a ruling civilian government of Pakistan and have ruled Pakistan for more than the civilian government, whereas Indian army can never think of doing this? Life is good. Okay, thank you for this question. You've asked two questions. I'll answer both of them. First of all, this is sanskar. Okay, there is no other way to define it. The Pakistani army is a greedy army. It's a merchant army. It's not a professional army. It's a merchant army. When faced with a superior army, it surrenders. But when faced with unarmed politicians and political workers, it oppresses them. If the Pakistani army was so strong, like many Pakistanis claim, world's #1 army, right? ISI, world's #1 intelligence agency. Every Pakistani worth his salt will swear, I swear, that this is the #1. Why haven't they been able to take Kashmir in 75 years? They should have been able to take Kashmir, if not other areas of India. They should have been able to take Kashmir. They have not been able to take Kashmir. So basically lies. And that country, the only institution that works in that country a little bit is the army, right? Nothing else works in that country. Everything is defunct. The courts are defunct, right? The election commission is defunct. The electricity department, everything is defunct in that country. So I don't even know what we're talking about here, because nothing works. So primacy is given to the Pakistan army because it works a little bit. Not in the areas it's supposed to work in, but in other civilian areas, it works well. How come the military personnel of Pakistan are so rich with billions of assets, whereas Indian military leads normal lives with nominal wealth? Corruption. They are allowed to be corrupt, and the Pakistani army has institutionalized corruption. So, if the army chief of Pakistan gets 95 acres or 90 acres or 100 acres, I don't know what, of land at very cheap nominal rates, it's legal in Pakistan. So what the Pakistani army has done is, it has legalized corruption. Now, it is part of the law that Pakistani army can be. This is corruption. Why should a general get land? For what? He gets his pension, that's it. Why should he get land? We are a far bigger army. We are a far more professional army. We have never interfered in government working. We have never, our army can't even think of fixing elections. Forget about, they can't even go into that realm of taking over, even in their wildest thoughts. We don't even give 1 square inch to our generals, yeah? If there is an army society which people have gathered money and made, somebody will book a flat. If it's lottery, it's a lottery system. If somebody gets a flat there, he can buy the flat with his savings. Otherwise, he stays in a civil area with his savings, whatever. There are so many people I know who have retired from the army and they don't have a house of their own. They're living in rented accommodation and they're doing jobs, trying to figure out some money, working in the private sector so they can buy a house of their own. That is how Indian army officers live. Many of them have their houses, some of them don't, and that's okay. But the fact of the matter is, in Pakistan, they are rich because that country has been structured like that, where wealth is with the generals and some other people. Now, another question is, this is Tarun Krishna Chaitanya. Sir, Jai Hind. Jai Hind, Tarunji. I have 2 questions. Why everybody is asking 2 questions? Brothers, I just request you, just ask 1 question here, because this becomes 4 questions then. Is there any intel on what's the count of Russian and Ukrainian soldiers who died in the course of war? The answer is no. There is no intel. Everybody is telling his own story. There is no way to verify. And don't believe everything that comes out of Ukraine. I'm telling you this. Don't believe everything that comes out of Ukraine, because the Western media is supporting Ukraine. The Western media is supporting Ukraine in all its endeavors. And there is a huge spin that is happening. So don't believe the Western media. And I don't know the number of casualties on both sides, because I think both sides are lying. Ukrainians are lying, the Russians are also hiding the truth. Number 2, what are the use of digging trenches in war, and can they be dug at higher altitudes as well? Trenches are supposed to save you from artillery and from incoming fire. They provide a natural barrier. They allow you movement of communication, of supply, operational movement. That is why trenches are made. So there are various kinds of trenches. Some trenches are long and connecting. Some are 2-man trench, 3-man trench with 3 people. For 2 people, trenches are made like that. So various kinds of trenches, and yes, they can be made at high altitudes. They're made at high altitudes. And when you want to be in a defensive sort of a position, then you make trenches. Also, when people are advancing, they make trenches so they can rest for a little while. Rest in the sense that they can protect themselves for a little while. There are many uses of trenches, and soldiers all over the world dig trenches for various purposes. As I said, communications, if there are connecting trenches, supply, also to be in a defensive position, save yourself from incoming artillery fire, from small arms fire. There are many uses of trenches. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please press like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.